This is WFO Radio.
Here we go again. What's up, everybody? Joe Castello here with you, WFO. Happy to be back late in the week, checking in with our winners from the E3 Spark Plugs NHRA Nationals out there at Lucas Oil Raceway, and getting ready for another race this weekend as E3 Spark Plugs Pro Modified gets started, Mickey Thompson Top Fuel Harley gets started, and the specialty series that is the samtech.edu Factory Stock Showdown gets started. Now, on this show, we're going to hear from a first-time winner, very special, Flyin Ryan Oehler. Ryan jumped into the sport a couple years back, I guess 2017, ran his first pro stock motorcycle race and has been battling it out and went on and grabbed the victory last week, and now he is the points leader. So does he want to see the season continue? Well, I'm sure he does. He is a racer. He doesn't want to win by default. So we are seconds away from hearing Flyin Ryan. For those of you who logged on to hear Billy Torrance, here's the deal. Billy is a very busy dude, busy guy. So what we're going to do, and I knew this was going to be a challenge from the start of the winners editions. The schedules are all over the place. And so what's going to happen is Billy, tomorrow morning, approximately 11 a.m. Eastern time, we're going to jump on here. We're going to go live with Billy. Jason Line, you're wondering about. We're going to try to get Jason as soon as he is available. They are out there testing all kinds of stuff going on. But this is the deal, and we're sorting it all out. Improvise, adapt, overcome. That is the way of the world. Improvise, adapt, overcome, and that's what we're doing. So what we're going to do is get to check in with Flyin Ryan here on this show. Also, pinch hitting for Billy Torrance, kind of in a way, will be making his first Top Fuel qualifying attempt, Joe Morrison, for Right to Breathe. Joe just recently got his license. If you watch our PRI coverage, you saw me do an interview with Joe from his booth with Jack Beckman. He's chasing the dream. He's been on many times in the past on WFO, and now he will be trying to qualify the Leverage Racing Top Fuel Dragster this weekend at Lucas Oil Raceway. See, dreams still coming true out there for many racers. So Flyin Ryan, Joe Morrison, all on WFO. Start a watch party, talking drag racing. We'll be going over the results, checking breaking news. Who knows what is going to happen over the next 45 minutes or so. But it's all brought to you by folks at Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. Go to TotalSeal.com, find out more information, whether it be their gas-ported rings, which it's a very interesting technology. Instead of gas-porting the pistons, they gas-port the rings, enabling you to use an off-the-shelf piston and make near equivalent horsepower without a wildly exotic piston that is much more difficult to replace. It's really interesting. Go to TotalSeal.com to find out more information, from Formula One to stock eliminator to bracket cars, sprint cars, or otherwise. And don't forget to check out Hidden Horsepower, the podcast that we produce. Keith Jones, a co-host, Lake Speed Jr., a co-host, Matt Hartford sometimes dives in there, and a lot of great information for you engine nerds out there. I mean, engine guys. Come on, it's a term of endearment. You should know that by now. Also, Marvin Rodak, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com, the best coffee in the world. Literally gets coffee from around the world. Farms that have like one bag of coffee they make a year, something like that. And Marvin gets it and has all the blends, the drag racing themed blends. Is a grill meister from Texas, has been on TV shows down there in Fort Worth, Texas. So check him out. Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com, 817-924-6821. And if you don't believe me, I don't know what to say. I'm imploring you to try a little Rodak's, and then you will understand. Like, if you don't know, now you know. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure. We're going to be talking a little bit about them a little bit later on. They've just made some announcements that Frank Hawley's is rolling, baby. They are rolling. What a year so far. They were shut down for a couple months, but now their schedule is up and rolling. They're going to be moving out, and I am excited to tell you about FrankHawley.com. If you want to become a champion race car driver, they're the place to go. If you want to go on a thrill ride known as a Dragster Adventure, they're the place to go. Go to FrankHawley.com. And finally, samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. You want to become a crew chief, crew member, CNC programmer, motorsport, EFI tuner, anything that has to do with the world of like aerospace, automotive, they can get you your start. They've got smaller class sizes now, a little bit of distance learning using the technology. But the bottom line is you're going there for the education. You're going there for the connections and the fact that they can place people with race teams. And so many of them out there have graduated from samtech.edu. If you want a WFO Radio t-shirt, go to nitrofishracing.com. Use the promo code WFO20 and you'll get 20% off. They got great stuff like the Jason Line End of the Line Retirement Tour t-shirt, and you can get 20% off on that. But enough of that. If you got questions, you can post them on the Facebook. Monica's already excited for Joe Morrison after he gets out of his big meeting. But right now, we're going to connect with a first-time winner in Pro Stock Motorcycle. He got the job done. I knew he would. Mr. Flyin Ryan Oehler. Ryan, welcome to WFO Radio as a winner for the very first time. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me, Joe. Really appreciate it.
So this was a milestone. I know you've been working very hard for this moment, not just you, but you and your family. And it's not a given that you try to qualify and you're going to qualify. It's definitely not a given that you're going to win a race, but you did it. So how's it feel?
Well, it feels really good. You know, we work really hard for everything that we get. And we've had 3 years now that we've been really hitting it hard. We test, all winter long. We're testing this off season and just trying to prepare as much as we can. And, I think we really had a good plan coming into this race. And that's kind of how we're looking forward to the races that are yet to come, is making sure that we have a good plan and we execute that plan as best as we can. So that's kind of where we're at now. We're looking at the schedule and starting to put all the pieces together for the next race in Denver and see what we can do to qualify well again, and then let the chips fall where they land in eliminations.
Now, I want to go through a typical WFO winter view. We're kind of new at it, doing it live on Facebook. Typically, the WFO Radio podcast, which has been going for 10 years, but we do have the opportunity for a little back and forth with some of the fans out there. We encourage them, if you got a question for Ryan, put it up there in the comment section, and we'll put it up there for him. But I always like to know, when you're making your first winter view on WFO, like, how did this happen? How did you get involved into drag racing? There's plenty of questions about the engine program and where you found the speed to do it. But I like to go back to the very beginning and find out where your passion for drag racing at this level came from, so that we understand where you're going.
Sure. Well, I mean, being born in a high-performance Harley shop, you couldn't keep me away. I wanted to be in the shop every single day. If I got off of school, it was Mom, take me to the shop. If it was the weekends, I was spending the time there. It didn't matter what I was doing. They were trying to keep me out of trouble, keep me, occupied. So they started me welding at age 5. I was taking a conduit and cutting it into sticks and stealing someone's roller skates to make wheelie bars for our mini bike. That was our tow bike for our drag bikes that we had. So, I mean, it was around me from day one. We had pro drag bikes in the shop. Top fuel bikes, pro stock bikes, street eliminator bikes. I mean, at one point in the 80s in the all Harley drag racing and the NHRA, we had I think a record holder and a champion in almost every pro class. So there was a point where we were just dominating the circuit of the all Harley stuff. And I was witness to all that. And it just, I fell in love with it immediately. And I just couldn't wait to be of the age to where I could start to pursue it on my own. And over time we got there, but it was a battle to get there. But definitely being witness to it all, they gave me the poison early on.
It is. It's been when we compare it to like drugs and all these different things, people with the needle in the vein. I always wonder, if you're not knowledgeable about drag racing, you might think it's a bad thing, but it's really a good thing, because those things, they motivate you to do maybe bad stuff, whereas this makes you want to do good stuff, like work hard and chase your dreams and form teams and build relationships and all of that stuff. You've been a perfect example. So why NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle with all these great experiences out there and bikes? You mentioned Harleys. I know there's bikes that go quicker. There's bikes that go faster. There's all kinds of different stuff. Why did you dial in on Pro Stock Motorcycle?
Well, it was definitely a dream early on, before you get really deep into it, that you want to go to where the best are. You want to go to the biggest arena. And after we pursued getting started, when we started our Pro Mod Harley venture in 2007, It also happened at the same time my dad and I opened our heating and cooling business together and reformed a business that we'd already had, and I became a partner. So we shelved the project that I started in 2007, got the Pro Mod Harley finally running in 2010. And when we hit the ground and we're testing for the first time, we tested in like November, guys wearing Carhartts at Bunker Hill, Indiana. One of the first drag strips I ever went to in my life. I thought we are gonna be out there and just start kicking butt. My dad's so good at this and blah blah blah. We got it handed to us for a long time. We were at the way back of the pack by a half a second from the leaders, and you had guys like Sean Reno and Frank Capone and all these guys that had been digging into the Pro Mod Harley class for many years, which is like the little brother to the Pro Stock class. It's a 7-inch tire with a 300 horsepower, 70-inch wheelbase Pro chassis heads up class. So I chose that because it was a perfect trainer to get to Pro Stock if I was able to actually get there. So once we got there and you've been, slaving over your program for all these times and you're working so hard to try to get, to that next level, you realize, oh man, what did I really sign up for? This is so much work. And then you realize the pro level class the whole group is just so hard at work. And now you're in it. And yes, it's like a drug. It's a drug that only results in good things. You work harder, you've got the rush, you want it more and more, but you got to keep fighting for it. But, it definitely leaves you feeling rewarded in the end. And all your hard work is, pays off like it did the other day for us for the first time,
There he is.
Woo!
Yeah. Oh, I just want to let you know your audio quality is like better than anybody else that's ever been on the show, maybe even including me. So
do I need to turn it down a notch?
I think it's great. I'm excited about it. You've sent in some photographs, and I want you to walk us through. We're going to go through your eliminations rounds. I'm going to tell you a story that I remember of you, but what was it like out there coming back? You had all this momentum. You were ready to start the season. All the Pro Stock bike guys and girls were ready, and Gainesville didn't happen. We all know that disappointment. You guys got to get out there and do it here. So you had to wear masks. There were social distancing. Everybody had their little packets of sanitizer. But tell me what it was like.
I think NHRA did a fantastic job putting the event together. It was really well put together. It seemed like even though we did have a smaller group of fans there, everyone was very comfortable. I know a lot more people wanted to come, but I know getting back to racing, that we're taking baby steps to get the program back up where everyone wants to see it. So I think everyone did a fantastic job dealing with the situation. As far as the competitor goes, we came in the door. For us, it was just like any other race. We had troubles getting to the track, even though I'm only traveling 150 miles to get there. We still blew an airbag on the coach on the way there. We got there and it was really hot Thursday, and we had 2 generator failures. I mean, we cooked the pizza for the crew with the little Honda 2000 generator because everyone was starving and the air conditioners kept knocking the big generators out. So, I mean, it was just like any other time for us. Struggles, of course, nothing goes super smooth, but we all wanted to be at the track so bad. We had a ton of momentum leaving Pomona. I mean, if we would have went to a race, I feel like directly after Pomona and not the banquet, I think we would have put ourselves in the winner's circle there. I mean, we really felt good about our program. We had sent 2 engines home from Vegas to be rebuilt by my dad in the shop. We shipped them back to Pomona. We tested Monday in Vegas with our C engine, and it was just like working like clockwork. The team had really gotten together. So then over the off season, we just all stayed to work together. Terry worked for Liberty Gears up in Michigan, and he was coming down on the weekends to work with us. Scotty on the team, he's from the Danvers area, which is my hometown, which is only 10 miles from here. And he was coming in. We were all working in the shop using the chassis dyno as a vehicle, just like race day. So we were doing, 1 hour turnarounds, taking the bike on, taking the bike off, testing lots of different things out. And then, now we got to Gainesville. This is even prior to Gainesville. We'd already tested in Bradenton, and we were all ready to go. Oh, it was just like the wind was taken out of our sails. So then we immediately, not knowing, what was going to happen with the schedule, we went and tested again. and we were testing in South Georgia, and it was great to get away at that point. I think a lot of people were really concerned about the, supposed to be in, be at home and not being out traveling. But when you got your own rig and you only got to stop for fuel one time on the trip, and you're wearing rubber gloves and a mask, I really don't think when you go 0 to 200 miles an hour in 6 seconds, you're, extremely worried about the COVID at that point when there's no one around. I mean, everyone on your crew is like, well, once you get into this rig, you're pretty much committed. Whatever you got, I'm gonna have. So, you're even closer at that point, I think, when you're dealing with pandemic.
Well, they say that you're supposed to do that, and no one is expecting anyone to be a single individual, totally isolated. You've got little bubbles of people that you trust, and I've got some friends that I go and see and I hang out with, and we work real hard to make sure that we are the only people that we see outside of going to the grocery store, going to get something. There's no way to completely isolate. That's not what they're asking for you guys. A team, a race team, you guys get together, you go out. It's kind of a solitary sport in that you're one rider on the bike going out there. You got your crew behind you. I think it works for drag racing, maybe better than most other sports.
It was hard to tell your mom, though, and your wife that you're about to leave them home and go out to the track and go racing, and then we're in a fairly conservative area. So when we leave town, the vehicle's all lettered up and you're trucking down, you got all these people stopping.
Where are they going?
Looking up at you like, oh my God, you shouldn't be going anywhere, and then as soon as you get out of where we're at, it seemed like it got back to normal. You started getting the toots of the horn and everyone was happy to see somebody out there moving, but it was great when we tested. Then it felt fantastic. We had certain things that we wanted to test, and we came right in and we went 685 at 196 right off the trailer. And then we were super consistent with 688, 689. Then we started trying some stuff, our new ECU that we've been working with, and some new gearing. And, we really left with 5 consistent passes, trying several things. Wanted to stay another day, but there wasn't a lot of people out there to share the expense of some track rentals at that time. So we decided to try to get as much done as we could in one day, and fire the grill up at night, celebrate, and act like we were at a real race, and enjoy it. And then we came back home and got right back to work, So there was a little downtime before Indy, but not much.
Hard work pays off, and this is a perfect example. And I think you're also an example that it can be done. Vance and Hines, Matt Smith, they're very tough. They're very tough, but it can be done. Let's go over your results and look at your day. You qualified 5th, so I would call it the best of, the best of everybody else. You got the Harleys, you got Matt, and then you got you. Scotty Polachek has got a really quick bike. You guys matched up second round, but let's start off with the first round of the day against Mark Ingerson, and you uncork a 692.1. So that is a strong pass. Eddie was a little quicker, and a couple of others were a little quicker, but you're in the game, and that's all you have to be, is in the game.
Yeah, that first pass is going back to whenever anybody started racing, that first round, especially if you think you got somebody covered, is probably the worst kind of feeling, is that because you don't want to make a mistake and you want to make a solid pass. So knowing that we're real consistent, it's just don't change a lot of things, get the bike to leave the line like you want it to, cut a decent light, and just, lay it down, and we did that. So that at that point, you can then flip the switch from the first round jitters, as someone might say, to, all right, now it's time to win this race. And you got to do it round by round. And of course, we've heard, rather be lucky than good. Matt kept saying the other day, and I have not had any luck in the last 3 years. And I said it at an NHRA interview when we've been asked about luck and whatnot. My wife said, Ryan, you use all of your luck up on the way to the airport, because there's been numerous occasions where I have been going excessively fast to make the race at wherever we're going. And she's reading the Waze app saying there's a cop up here, 3 miles ahead. And we slow down, and then we're back up on the limiter of the car and on the shoulder and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, going up against Scotty that next round, yes, that was bad luck for him, good luck for me. Scotty has got a very fast motorcycle, and obviously Matt has been working to give him the power that he's needed to win. And I really see that Scotty looks to have a very promising season this year, and we should see Scotty in the winner's circle for sure. You know,
I totally agree, and I'm excited about your first win, and I'm going to be so excited about his first win, and I know it's coming. One foul red, but that's racing. That's the way it goes.
Sure.
You're trying to cut down the tree, and he knows he's got a quick and fast bike, and let's just hope we get some more races in so he can show it. By the way, we do not advocate speeding on the show. I gotta say it. I gotta say it. Not on the semifinals. Hector Jr. Was able to take out Eddie with a 006 reaction time, and that's what he does. He goes to that next level when he's got to, but then came back to earth and ran a 98. You ran a 90. You were able to pick up. He slowed down. You were left with him, 041, and just like that, you're going to the finals against Matt Smith.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I thought it was really great because when I did race Scotty, I tuned the wrong way, and giving that opportunity now to go another round, which is not really obviously something that we're totally used to on Sunday. Of course, testing and whatnot, when you can go out and go 4 rounds on a test track, but looked at it and go, wow, we tuned the wrong way. We got greedy, and now we have an opportunity to go the right way. So we flip-flopped it, and it showed. We were the quickest of all 4 bikes in the semifinals. We went the 90. And that was with, I think a 107 60 foot. So one of our better 60 foots, but there was more in it. So at that point, going to go to the finals, coming back to the pits, now the quick turnaround, looking at the data and looking at what we were going to do to improve from there, because really, I mean, we've had no idea Matt was doing a motor swap. And when someone would tell me that Matt's doing a motor swap, I expect Matt to come out just on fire, because I have a lot of respect for Matt. I know that his program's pretty solid. So we thought, well, you know what? We're tuning it in because there's more on the table after the semifinals. And we were going to bust into the 80s. And that was when the scenario came down with, we had an improper clutch tune-up, which I have to take full responsibility for saying to my crew chief, Terry, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. You know, I was sitting there as the bike's dragging out of the water with clutch drag going, he's going to kill me. He's just absolutely going to kill me, you know? So, and all it was 4,000 to free play. And I just didn't know it had that close of a margin. That just shows my lack of experience there. We've been running a number that, you know, we try to keep it at. And if I'd have known now that 4,000 makes it drag, we might run a little bit bigger air gap now at this point just to protect ourselves. So, but yeah, that was, you know, it all led up to that moment of now we got a problem and we had to improvise, you know. So, but going up to the line now that it's dragging, I do the burnout. I'm thinking, please, maybe it'll just loosen up a little bit after the burnout, which, you know, it didn't. And then I wicked the throttle 2 times, and every time it lunged. We pull up to the line. I yell at Terry, clutch is dragging. And I could just see his face is like, oh no, you know, what can we do? It was nothing, you know. And I said, that's it. I got a plan. I'm just going to not go on the 2-step until a moment. I wanted to count to 1 once the bottom lights were lit and we were fully.
Oh no, we lost his audio. I don't know.
I got someone calling me. I got him on Do Not Disturb. It's still coming through my.
Now back. Yeah, Do Not Disturb doesn't seem to work. We found out with Matt.
What's up with that? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Your Bluetooth is no longer working, but we can still hear you.
Well,
so keep going.
Difficulty
yeah, just keep going. We hear you.
All right. So anyway, we're coming up.
I mean, it's not like beautiful.
We got clutch drag at this point, and I tell Terry, I got this. Just back up, you know. And I waited for that moment. I went on the 2-step, just a little late, and it's definitely dragging me. And I think the funny part, looking back at the data now, is everyone's like, great job on your 01 light. Great job. The bike cut the 01 light. I'm pretty sure the bike did its own thing, because the time's off from the data. We looked at the data and it's like, well, that wasn't a 697. But because the timer, you know, the tree was activated by the bike rolling at 01, then I went. Now the clock starts and you're already about half a tenth, you know, behind. So it was. That was also lucky, but I'd say there was some experience there, being able to improvise in the moment. But, you know, luck, experience, it all kind of played some part of that part there. And, you know, And if Matt would have ripped to 685, I don't think it would have made any difference, you know.
Interesting. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to kick you out and then you reconnect with your Bluetooth going again because the audio is just so much better. I want to ask you another question before we go. So I'm going to kick you out. You're going to reconnect. I'm going to tell the audience some stuff and you'll have your Bluetooth on. So I'll see you in 30 seconds. There he goes. Flyin Ryan. And now is the time where I tell all you folks while Ryan gets reconnected that if you would like some WFO radio stickers for free, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to the address on your screen. Care of Castello Media /WFO stickers, P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida 33084. Couple stamps. I throw in a couple of stickers. People have been putting on 50 stamps so that I put in like every sticker that I've got in the studio, and it doesn't work like that. What are you going to do with 100, right? But a couple stamps usually get you, 6 or 8 stickers, old school, new school, some WFO swag that I got around. Castello Media /WFO stickers, P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida 33084. And just like that, look at this, we got him back. It's like
testing.
It's like we planned to do that. All right. So now you're a winner. And I can bring you back to a time when you were not a winner because you've entered an elite class. I remember a story from the Gator Nationals, and I've been doing this about 10 years, going down to the top end and stuff. And so Gator Nationals, I believe 2018, which I think was your first Gator Nationals, starting the season with the intention of running points, chasing the championship. Is that correct?
Yeah, that'd be right. Yeah, correct.
Q1, I'm down there. And you came down, and I was trying to explain yesterday, like all the bikes kind of cluster up, right? And everybody knows everybody. But to me, you were the new guy. And I don't know how well you knew everybody else at that point, but it reminded me of school where, like the new kid, like who's the new kid? What's up with the new kid? And I remember you engaging like, hey, like trying to to talk to people. And it was interesting, the responses. Like people were cordial and nice, but I could just tell it wasn't like the strong long-term relationships that we had seen from the longtime runners who'd been out there for 10 years. And that's the Ryan Oehler that I remember. Like, I don't want to say a little unsure, but in an awkward situation, like, man, this is what it's like. This guy's got to fight his way in here. This guy's got to prove himself. These people have been out here for years doing it. Is he going to be able to do it? What's it going to be like for him? That kind of stuff. It triggered that thought with me. And now you've done it. You've won a race. You've set up an engine program that makes a lot of power. You went out and got that Matt Smith elite body that, the EBR that is really quick and fast. You were the first, I think, or one of the first, along with Matt and the Hectors, who obviously innovated it, to have it. You've made it. What's that like?
And it feels great, it just makes you hungry for more. Like right now, the next race, we want to go win the next race. And we want to make everyone start to realize that, hey, these guys are going to be the ones that are going to start, pushing the bar. Someone's got to take this class. It's kind of been, I would say, slightly stagnant for a while. You watch the times. Now, the weight that got added on kind of makes a little bit different buffer for anybody that might think it's stagnant because the performance has increased and we have all picked up. If we were still running 620, I think you'd definitely be seeing a lot of people bump into the 660s at some point. But now with carrying more weight, it's a little bit more challenging. But yes, we're looking down the road to what are we going to do to advance our program. And for us being so fresh and new and looking at data and still trying to figure out how to get your path to get through to to be successful on a tune-up. We got a lot to learn still. And I working with new software and new computer systems and really sitting down going, man, I need help with this. And now we're starting to reach out to some people that are more specialized that can train me. And then it's a simple thing as, we put a different front end on it last year. And then after that, I said, man, the front end's really wobbling. We're getting a lot of shake in the front end. And we really need a steering dampener. I'm talking to Gary Stover. He goes, oh, well, you got a steering dampener. And I go, oh, okay, yeah. And he's like, oh, it's like this, that. And I said, okay. And I've kind of forgot about it. And then over the winter, We're like, what's that bolt do? Oh, you tighten that bolt up and your front end gets tighter. Like, oh, who knew? So here's a guy, totally over here that, just doesn't understand some of those very simple things that these veteran riders and racers and tuners all know. And for me doing it all, it's definitely I still gotta get further down the road on this curve. But once I think that we're getting there with the consistency and we're getting there with the confidence. Once that part is basically almost where it is, I'm sitting on the bike now. Used to sit on the bike and worry about, am I going to go towards the wall? Is it going to just, something going to fall off? Now I'm sitting on the bike feeling like I'm going to win. And that's when my dad starts to realize where we're at, which he knows it's now time for him to turn it up. And now we start turning it up, and then we go quicker. And now we're consistently and going quicker. Now we become a major contender.
That's exactly how it's supposed to go, and a roadmap for others. It's not easy. Steve Gold out there, who's a photographer for Cycle Drag, points out, and Reinhardt pointed this out earlier in the week, this is like a shocking stat. Gianna Salinas and you, back-to-back first-time winners in Pro Stock Motorcycle. The last time that happened, Andrew Hines was one of the riders to do that. I think it's 2004. That is an insane number. It shows you how hard it is to win in this category, that the wins are gobbled up by the same couple of racers. And for you to do that and now be the points leader, it's a huge deal.
Sure. And now we just got to go out and prove everybody that's not a fluke. We got to go do it again, and I'm really looking forward to the season picking up. We're looking forward to hopefully going to Denver here in a couple weeks. Denver's tough for me because I think I have 11 runs under my belt in that, climate. And it'd be great to test there, but we'll just have to see what happens. Whatever the next race is that comes to us, we're going to be excited to go there and hopefully put our best foot forward.
That's it. That is exactly. All right. Final thoughts. You don't just show up with a bike. You show up with one that is really nice. That's drag racing heritage right there. People say it's a drag race, not a car show, but really it's kind of both. And
sure.
Your own brand, and you've got your own attitude. And why is that important to you when others, not that everybody does it, but Matt Smith goes over the top with his paint schemes. It's important to him. There are others. It's important presentation. Why is it important to you?
Well, they're motorcycles. They're supposed to be cool. I was telling somebody the other day that is considering getting with our program and maybe riding another bike that, man, when you strap on these leathers, it's because of chicks. They think it's cool. So, we do it for the chicks, but no, you look at the bike. I've been a motorcycle lover my whole life. I've painted all my bikes have always been pretty much orange and black. I bought a Buell when the Buell Firebolt first came out, and it was painted that same House of Candy, burnt orange, and or I think it's candy tangerine. But when I first started this program, and we were going to paint the bike orange. First, I get the leathers, and I get this swatch from Bates. So we're going through all these color samples, and we're going through them, and we're going, okay, trying to figure out what color is best. And I finally picked one. I call my painter, and he says, "Oh, that's the same color you painted your Buell." And I said, "Oh, really?" And he says, "Well, I still got some of it." I said, "Oh, well, is it any good?" He says, "Well, yeah, it's 10 years old, but it's been in my living room or something like that under my coffee table." I'm like, okay, so
they're different kind of people.
Yeah, so then we go ahead and I said, I don't even know if I want you to use that paint. I've wrecked my bike 3-4 times after you painted it every time. So maybe we should use a new batch, So anyway, we're able to stick with that orange and black, and that's how, that's the Harley heritage of my life. Of course, I'm open to new colors that if sponsors want to see me change color, I can be swayed, but if it's got to be pink, my wife's going to be extremely happy. But, if we got Victoria's Secret all down the side, I could see some new pit crew behind me, with some more sexy clothes.
I like where your head's at, Ryan Oehler. You're a good kid. You need to be on here. But you mentioned the family, though, like your mom, dad, and everybody out there. Like that had to be a real great moment to deliver that. What we're doing is worthwhile, and it's working.
Oh, my grandparents are both 91, 92. My other grandpa's in his late 80s in Indiana. I was born in Lafayette, Indiana. So I'm a Hoosier by blood. So there's a lot of fans that we had that were dialed in. People all across the country that I've become friends with that were screaming up and down at the bar or at home or at their shop or their place of business, because now everybody's tuning into NHRA TV. You know, everybody has that ability now to see it at home. So I had to immediately come home and share the trophy with my grandparents, share the trophy obviously with my family and my dad, and had to give kudos to my mom, who's put up with this lifestyle from day one, who has been a real trooper to hang in there, because obviously not a lot of yard work gets done around our family. You know, I got a decent looking house, but I got one crap looking yard, you know. So, but then, you know, my dad, as much as he is working for our team to bring that home, you know, and we left saying we were bringing it home, because you have to have that confidence going into a race. If you just think you're going to go in and just say, man, you know, I want to see how we do, you're at a different level then. You know, we finally got to that level now where we say we're bringing it home, and we're serious when we say it. And you got to go in with that mindset. So that's where we're at now. So now the family, everybody, the local town, small town kid. I mean, I grew up in Danvers, Illinois. That's like 900 people or something at that point. And I grew up out in the farm. I had a 1/4-mile gravel driveway. I've made more 1/4-mile passes on my dirt bike before I could drive than probably anybody alive, you know. But still, you know, to bring it home to them, to have my picture on your small town local bar wall, and all that kind of stuff, and just share it with the family, that everyone goes, wow, he did it. He actually won, you know. And it's like, oh, we told you, that's what we're here for. But no one thinks that, you know, it's really going to happen unless you're a big name like, you know, Andrew Hines or Eddie Krawick or Matt Smith at that point. But, you know, I guess Flyin Ryan is starting to become a big name, you know, and we'll just have to see what. That's right.
You got the nickname. Well, Ryan, congratulations. I appreciate you coming on WFO Radio, sharing this first victory with us. Very special. Pulling for you. There's Wally. You got the medallion. Woo! And hopefully soon you'll get to, you know, have full crowds and all of that, but you're getting dialed in, tuned up. You're the points leader. And, you know, next race, Denver is scheduled at, you know, certainly at this minute. And good luck out there, and wherever the next one is. Yeah, it's magic. You rub this and you make a wish to win another.
All right. Appreciate it, everybody. Woo!
There he goes.
Bring home another one.
There you go. Thank you, Ryan. Congratulations. There he goes. Ryan Oehler with us here on WFO Radio. And I just think back, you know, Joliet the year before, his first pro stock motorcycle race, new people coming into anything, right? Like, I'm going to be a new person that enters into something. There's always a challenge. It's tough. There's people who are already set up and established, and to go in, to pull the trailer in, to set up the awning, and people are looking, and who are these guys, and what are they going to do, and how are they going to do? Are they going to have what it takes? Are they going to be able to hack it? Are they going to stick it out, or are they fly by night? And the Oehler family, they are here. They are here to stay, and that's great, and they got to win. So congratulations, Ryan, and here's to many more. Now, our next guest is probably feeling exactly the same way. As I mentioned early in the show, Billy Torrance, tomorrow morning, approximately 11 a.m., be ready with your live stream. Jason Line, I'm going to try to get Jason as well. Very busy characters. One guy who's going to be out there racing this weekend, trying to qualify with Leverage Racing, who has qualified many times. Good friend of mine. We've been tracking his career the whole time. He came on, he says, I'm going to go out and get my Top Fuel license. We were like, no, you're not, but we'll let you on the show anyway. Mr. Joe Morrison. And he's doing it, and he did it. He's a licensed Top Fuel driver. Congratulations, Joe. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Joe. Thanks again for having me on the show. You know, it's funny. I don't even know if it's really sunk in yet. I mean, I'm psyched beyond belief. I don't think my feet have touched the ground all week. But, you know, I think reality is going to hit when Gary says, you ready? Let's fire it up. And I give him the go ahead. And I think that's when it's going to be like, good Lord, here I am at Indy. Never thought it would happen.
Yeah, you're running Indy. It's not the U.S. Nationals just yet, but it's a great opportunity to kind of get some of that U.S. Nationals vibe at a race that is also partly helping save drag racing and bring it back and put it in front of new eyeballs. Let's go back to the start in that this is planned. You've been fighting and clawing to get to this position. You've done a lot of stuff, drove a jet car. You run a nostalgia car. You've really got a lot of experience and waiting for the right deal to fall in place. And it fell into place with Leverage Racing. We made the announcement at PRI that you were going to try to get your license. You did. It didn't work out. Like you guys had some sort of mechanical issue, so you weren't able to get the complete runs, and you finished that up just the other day. So how did that go now that you are a licensed Top Fuel racer?
Yeah, it's funny. At first, it was definitely frustrating. I think more so for Gary than for me, because of chasing some technical gremlins. The first time we went down to Bradenton, it was cold, so cold that the iguanas were falling out of the trees. I mean, seriously, ridiculous. And then we were fighting. It went up in smoke, and then we were fighting tire shake. And as a driver, it was great. Frustrating because I wanted to go right down the track, but having had all those things thrown at me, like I've had tire shake in the nostalgia funny cars, but it feels different in a dragster, right? You don't have those tires right next to you. So it was cool. It was really cool to get that experience. So then we go back a month later down to Bradenton, and then we were having problems with the ignition system. And that was what was causing tire shake at that point. So we were all set. We were going to go finish licensing Monday after the Gators, and then obviously COVID happened and everything got shut down. So we finally got back to the track this past weekend at Maple Grove, and Thursday the track was tricky. I mean, look, Maple Grove did a fantastic job, but it was hot. It was hot, man. It was in the 90s. Track temperature was way the heck up, like 130 something, 140, something like that. Just greasy. So it went up in smoke right away. I caught it quick, didn't leave the rods hanging out of it, thankfully.
Yeah.
Second pass, we came back up and it was trucking. It got through the shake zone. I'm like, all right, here we go. And then it went up in a tire smoke at that point. So I figure, Gary looked at the computer. He's like, you know what? That thing was on a high 380 pass right there. He said, I'm going to calm this thing down a bit. And then let's see where we got, we had some help. Rob Flynn was on the phone with us, and Rob was providing a little bit of information. A lot of times, he was confirming a little bit of what Gary was saying, and then provided a little bit of insight in the clutch. And you know what? We were all set. Gary said, you know what? It's going to happen. I said, great. We were going up to make our third run on Thursday. We go to windmill the motor on the starting line, and it's making a weird sound. And we were like, oh man, I think this sounds like there's a valve that's not closing. And so we decided, you know what, scrap it. We're gonna leave the tune-up in it. We're gonna look at what the conditions are, maybe make a head gasket change if the weather changes, and come back Saturday. So we come back Saturday, and so here's the funny part, right? Saturday was July 11th, 7/11. I chose my competition number, 171, because of Jungle Jim, who's my favorite funny car driver of all time. His license was 117. So there we go, 171, 117. 7/11. We have all these crazy number things going on. One of the people from the crew, Dina Mashburn, her birthday was July 11th, but she had to leave, and some of the regular crew had to leave. So back up a day. On Friday, I'm going crazy calling all my nostalgia funny car buddies from the East Coast. I like to call the East Coast Funny Car Mafia. So we've got, we had Brian Golick, who's got an alcohol funny car. He's been doing the bottom end the whole time. Bobby Toth, who drives the Time Bomb. We had George Riedenauer, who drives the Excalibur nostalgia funny car. My good buddy Rocky Perrone, who's been along, and I'm actually riding behind him in the trailer right now on the way to Indy. Rocky was there. Who am I leaving out? Oh my God, Bill Hodgson, and of course, you guys may have heard of Bill's wife, Pam Hardy, aka Jungle Pam.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty amazing.
Pam's been a friend of mine for years now because we've been running these nostalgia funny cars together, and Pam's just awesome. She's just a great person. You never have to guess what she's thinking. We just, all of us with the nostalgia funny car scene, we have a great time. So here it is, 7/11. And of course, it's my good friend Tim Charlet's wedding anniversary. So, all these things come together, and we all look at each other. We're like, you know what? Today's the day. Today's the day. We know it's going to happen. So, like I said, we get that first run in. Now, here's where all the 7/11 luck comes in. First pass, it's trucking down there. I'm like, oh, man, she's pulling like a freight train. And it gets just past the 8th mile, and it quits. I'm like, uh-oh. But I knew it would be fast enough, right? Because I knew it was on a hell of a pass. I figured it'd be good to qualify for the license, and it was. But I'm like, why the heck did it quit? So we get to the top end, and Gary's like, why'd you lift? I'm like, why'd I lift? I thought you shut it off from the starting line. He's like, I didn't touch that thing. I'm like, uh-oh. So we're trying to figure out why the hell this car shut off. Well, Brian's taking the bottom end apart, and he sees number 6 rod bearing is hammered bad. He's like, man, if you were in that throttle for another quarter second, we would have had holes in this block all over the place. I'm like, but why did it shut off? The clip came off the throttle cable at just the right time.
Wow.
And the throttle cable came disconnected at just the right time for me to get the pass, but save the motor. You want to talk about 7-Eleven luck?
Yeah.
Joe, it was like, we were like, all right, that's it. It's fate, man. It's
so
fate.
Much
the next
better
round.
than a free Slurpee.
Oh, let me tell you.
Oh.
And no brain freeze, right?
Right.
So anyway, we come up for the next pass, and we were thrashing, man. It hurt the crank, so we had to put the number 2 motor in it. So here you got these guys that normally don't work on top fuel cars, but are damn good mechanics, and they know their way around a supercharged Hemi, right? Everybody just came together and said, man, we're swapping motors. We're going to get done before the track tells us it's too late. These guys, they got it all turned around. And yeah, there you go. There's a picture of everybody in there. Got it turned around, got it up to the lanes right in time. We pull in behind the Pro Mods. And Gary's like, look, he's like, I pulled it back a little more. It'll run a 4.0. You'll be in great shape. So hit the throttle. Car goes down. It makes a little move to the left towards the wall. I'm in the left lane. I pull it back. All of a sudden, it starts heading for the center line. I'm like, thinking to myself, I'm like, man, what am I? Granted, I'm a funny car guy. So I'm thinking, am I overdriving this thing? What the hell is going on? It goes through. I pass 1,000 foot. I keep my foot in it, man. I'm like almost pulled it to the quarter mile only because I wanted to make sure we had the mile an hour, we had the ET, put the chutes out, get it stopped, come around the corner, and get out. And I look back at the motor. You know, obviously, look. First thing you look at the fuel motor, like, all right, is anything hanging out of it, right? And the header broke on the left side of the motor, and that's why it went for the center line. You know, and so luckily, look, I caught it. Luckily, I've got enough experience with the fuel altereds and all that other stuff. But yeah, there it is, 403, 292. It felt great. I can't wait for my first 3-second run. I can't wait for my first 300-mile-an-hour run. I feel really good in the car. It's a little ahead of me. I ain't gonna lie, you know. But I've launched the car 12 times already. So my routine is solid. I feel confident. You know, and I'm going to go out there and have fun. You know, are we going to set the world on fire? No. Hopefully we won't set the car on fire.
Right.
but no. Listen, I got all the confidence in the world. Gary's like, you know, he's like, this took a long time, but he's like, I think we got a really good hot rod right now. We learned a bunch of things through all of this. And you know what? I think we got something for him. I think we have a legitimate shot to qualify. I mean, heck, our 403 would have put us 12th this past weekend. Right. So
exactly. And that's what it's about. This is a different kind of thing. I would hope our audience takes from your trials and tribulations of trying to get licensed that it's not easy to get licensed. Dickie Venables told me one day that, you know, name drop Dickie Venables, but it's a miracle they go down the track at all. Period. Like, that's it. Like, just going down the track. And we've all heard the stories like, you know, what do you hope it does this time? I hope it starts this time, right? Reinhardt told us that one a couple of weeks back. I hope it starts. That's it.
Yeah.
These things are wild beasts. So just to get your license, it was an adventure. You went through a whole bunch of stuff just to get there. And now you get to go, you've earned the right by going through that to go to a race and stage up next to whoever it may be and try to put a time up on a board at an NHRA national event. I salute you, Joe. I think it is great. You're doing it with a great cause behind you, Right to Breathe. We see it on your hat. We know you've been out there for a long time. COPD, people out there. I know you've been trying to bring them in. You know, give our audience a little insight into where they can go for that. And I'm just happy that you're going to be out there giving it a ride.
No, thanks, Joe. So Tim does a much better Alan Reinhardt than I do, but in my best Alan Reinhardt voice, just so you know, none of the money from Right to Breathe goes to fund the race car. No, but seriously, you know, when Alan talks about Make-A-Wish and Infinite Hero. So Right to Breathe, what we do is it's in honor of my dad. Lost my dad 4 years ago to COPD, but before he passed, well, let me back up. Why we started is because my dad did not get diagnosed with COPD until he had already lost more than half of his lung function. The CDC estimates there's 12 to 14 million Americans that have COPD and don't know it. And so what we want to do at Right to Breathe is help them get diagnosed early, because once you're diagnosed, you can live a good quality of life. You can slow or stop the progression of it. So that's what we're doing, and we've got great partners that have helped us to do free lung screenings at a bunch of national events already. We've done Maple Grove twice. We've done Charlotte. We've done Epping. We're coming back as long as it stays on the schedule. Right to Breathe will be back at Maple Grove this year, and as long as it stays on the schedule, Right to Breathe will be at Bristol this year, and that's thanks to support from Novartis. Pharmaceutical is funding our efforts there, and they've been great, honestly. They've been really wonderful about helping us. And what's interesting is Novartis does not even have a COPD medication right now. So it's not like they're doing this to stick money in their pockets. They're supporting Right to Breathe because they believe in what we're doing. So it's been a wonderful thing. We have some other companies that have supported us over the years. Sorry, I'm riding in the vehicle. I'm trying to hold the phone still, and
you're doing a pretty good job. You're doing okay.
Yeah, well, I'm a passenger. Thankfully, I got my friend George driving. We have my friend Dennis Guttoni in the back seat, and we're Indy bound. So the partners that have helped us, some on the racing side, Diversitech, they make the titanium shields and valve covers for the fuel teams. We've had support from Synovian Pharmaceutical. NDD Medical Technologies provides us with the lung function testing equipment called spirometers. Convexity Scientific has a portable nebulizer for folks that have to do nebulized medication treatments. You could actually be at the track and do a nebulizer treatment if you're taking medication. So we've had some great partners on board that have helped make all this happen, and some of which are supporting the racing side as well as Right to Breathe. So it's a wonderful thing. And righttobreathe.org is the website. And of course, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. We do a little bit with Twitter too, but the last thing that I want to plug about Right to Breathe, Joe, is last fall, before all this COVID stuff started, we started this online patient support group. And we've had some support from the American College of Chest Physicians and their foundation, supporting that. So what it is, it's like a Zoom call for people living with lung disease, asthma, COPD, pulmonary fibrosis. We have our director of education, Michelle De Silva, who is a respiratory therapist. She runs the call. We have guest speakers come in, so we provide some education and inspiration to the patients. And then we stop the recording from the education portion, and patients get to share their experiences, share things they've learned, best practices, and it's been fantastic. Folks love it. It's been a great help because, listen, if you're living with lung disease, you don't want to come out of the house right now because those are the folks that are most risk of passing away from COVID. So that if anyone out there is living with COPD, living with asthma, come to the Right to Breathe Facebook page, and you'll see in our events page, you'll find where all those events are scheduled. We do the second Tuesday of the month, the third Tuesday of the month, and the fourth Tuesday of the month and it's free. We provide this as a free service. So anyone that's interested in hearing some inspirational speakers, getting some education about how to live with lung disease, and join me on the call. I'm there every time.
Love it. No, listen, that's one of the reasons, my dad has had some breathing issues over the years, and there's no way that anybody who doesn't have it can possibly understand how frustrating, aggravating it is to live with it. And, my dad, guy who used to be able to run 10 miles, like no big deal, and all of a sudden limited, it's very frustrating. And the diagnosis and all that. So the fact that you're doing it for a good cause is great as well. Joe, thank you very much. Congratulations. Looking forward to seeing you. 20 Top Fuel dragsters entered right now for the Lucas Oil Summer Nationals in Indy this weekend. I wish you the best of luck getting qualified. Great job getting your license. And thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Joe. Really appreciate it, man. Look forward to seeing you, hopefully in person at some point soon, man. I know probably won't be there this weekend, but soon.
Yes. I'm the designated stay-home guy, just in case. All right, Joe, see you later. There he goes, Joe Morrison. Yeah, the designated joke. Everybody loves it. It's not good. And there you have it, Joe Morrison and Flyin Ryan with us here on WFO. And I had planned to do 3 shows this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But Jason Line and Billy Torrance, we're going to try to get them in tomorrow. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. We're trying to catch up with the live winter views. And there you have it. Ryan was great. Joe's great. It just goes to show you that people still have dreams to go drag racing. And they're going to do what they got to do to go drag racing regardless. And I know there's been a lot of discussion about John Force this week and what it means and the sport and all of that stuff. And what I think is that this is a passion-driven sport, and that there are always going to be people that want to get behind the wheel of a nitro car, want to compete for an NHRA Wally, want to race in the Mellow Yellow Series. And they're going to do what they got to do to make it happen. And you're witnessing that. Ryan Oehler, he went from guy entering a race to guy holding a Wally. And Joe Morrison went from guy whose best moment in the NHRA was avoiding rolling a fuel altered at the Maple Grove National event. Saved it, an amazing driver save so that the show could continue. And it was like, thank you, Joe, for, allowing fuel altereds to continue. It's a long story, but the bottom line is the guy saved the day, folks. You don't even realize he saved the day by getting off the throttle and gathering it in with his ability. And we're going to see it. More people out there going after NHRA Wallies. I'm WFO Joe. You can follow me on Insta and on Twitter, and I'm posting various stuff. Like yesterday, I got my windows tinted on my Firebird, and I was super proud of it, and so I posted it. That's the kind of stuff you'll see up there. A lot of car stuff. We are a podcast. Like, what happens if we can't get a hold of Billy Torrance and Jason Line on a live video deal like this? And the answer is I'm going to record audio only and put it up on our WFO podcast. So you want to never miss one. Subscribe on Apple Podcast and Spotify, or either or, just like that. YouTube, you can watch these shows on YouTube. I know a lot of people prefer YouTube to Facebook, but and you can comment from YouTube as well. Like, look at that, Steve the Trucker out there in Indy. Steve, you going to the race? He's watching on Periscope right now. You going to the race? Yeah, you got to have a member. You got to be tickets. This guy buys like this weekend pass of the U.S. Nationals. I'm sure he's got an opportunity to get in there if he wants it. And 20% off on Nitrofish gear, WFO 20 at nitrofishracing.com. They got an all new website coming out, and it is going to be great. Now, a couple more things before I let everybody go. And I've been promising that I would mention this to Steve Brenwald of Brenwald Media, who is doing our graphic arts and made some cool stuff for our Facebook page, et cetera, and so on. And I mentioned it yesterday, but now I got it dialed in. And Mrs. Steve has created the Cottontail Cottage Bunny Sanctuary, which is what they have done. And it's pretty cool in that they are saving these rabbits. Is what they are. Like, apparently rabbits, need to be saved. Like, what happens is they need a home, and Steve and the missus have created a bunny sanctuary. And so Steve Brenwald is, what I would like everybody to do is to go and check out the bunny sanctuary. And there's a GoFundMe page for the Cottontail Cottage. And what they do is they go on there and save these little rabbits. If you want to adopt a rabbit, you can. But anyway, bottom line is go find the Cottontail Cottage. I want to call it a college. I don't know why. And save one of these bunnies, or at very least help them save one of these bunnies. They're doing a great job, doing a nice thing. They don't need to be doing that. They don't need to be doing that. They're doing it out of the goodness of their heart. And I want you guys, the WFO people, to know that we know people who like to do nice things. And it's Steve Brenwald and the missus. They like to do nice things. All right, final questions, everybody. Not this weekend, Steve. See, all right, let me drop this on you. We got this race this weekend, the Lucas Oil Summer Nationals, and I am super excited about it because, to me, this is a perfect example of how the sport of NHRA drag racing will be able to continue. But there is also another reason, and it's showing the viability of the sport as a television sport. Yes, we've got to have fans in attendance who pay to get in, but really the goal, the reason that NASCAR and IndyCar and Formula One were able to race without fans is because they've got big television contracts. And in the modern media world, you really want to be getting a considerable amount of money from your television contract. Not as much as Formula One or NASCAR, but something significant that makes it worthwhile to have the race. And I think what we're witnessing over these past couple weeks, last week and this week, is that an NHRA event can go on. Where we are doesn't necessarily have to matter. It's great if we can. Denver is the next race on the tour. We're waiting. There's some friction, as Alan Reinhart mentioned. What's going on? You're all keeping track of that story. I don't know anything about the details of that story, but if in Indianapolis, Indiana, 70,000 people are going to show up 8 times a year to see the Colts play, and they have a season, I think it would be amazing to have an NHRA season wherever we can have it. Now, who knows what will happen, what will go down, where the numbers will be too high and where the virus numbers will be just right. We'll be able to race. We don't know about that. But for my money, if I saw every race on NHRA.tv coming out of the same place and all the teams were there and they could save a lot of money by being at home, would I choose it? I wouldn't choose it. Would I choose it over nothing? Yes, I would definitely choose that over nothing. So already by having this one race and now a second one this weekend with 20 top field dragsters being there, you do what you got to do. Improvise, adapt, overcome. And I love the idea that teams of the NHRA are doing it. We'll see what kind of data comes at us, and we're going to have to deal with it. Whatever the data is, we'll have to deal with it and ride along. All right, everybody, that is going to do it. I really appreciate all you folks for listening to WFO Radio. Remember, subscribe to the podcast and buy our stuff. Send in a self-addressed stamp envelope so you can get some free WFO Radio stickers. And we've been having a good time. I didn't know Kepner is into rabbits. See, there it is. He's into rabbits. Kepner is a, drag racing savant, knows things that people like everybody else forgot. Really amazing stuff. Let's see. Supercross did that. I raced out in Salt Lake City, Utah. You do what you got to do. Now, what will we have to do? I don't know. But we're all waiting on data. Who, where, what, obviously all based on the medical data. That's number one. And I think that the people who early on said that this was all just kind of fake, I think we've won them over now and they realize, no, okay, this is legit. And it is. Just got to get everybody to agree. Like, man, wear the mask. You want to come to a race, wear the mask, enjoy. But then we can go racing, and it'll be great. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. Thank you so much. Again, I'm at WFO Joe, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, samtech.edu. Marvin Rodak. Oh, yes, the coffee, the hot sauce, the spice rub, and Total Seal Piston Rings supporting this show. We really appreciate everybody that helps us out. Got some new sponsors getting ready to come on board. We thank them as well. Thanks to Alan Reinhart. And remember, tomorrow we're working on Billy Torrance and we're working on Jason Line. All right, everybody, we'll see you next time right here on WFO.